All right, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I am back for take 2 with Jason Waechter.
Take 2.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and doing this again with me.
Great to see you again.
Yeah. So we had this, and I mean, I'm sure people know from social media that I was here before. Somehow I screwed it up. This is what I do. It's what I do best.
When you got a fancy camera like that, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. The more moving parts, the more buttons you can mess up.
That's why, hey, a smartphone with a dumb user. That's what I say. So,
Come on now.
No, so we're back again. And it was May before, so Motorcycle Awareness Month is long over. Thanks again. I mean, I know you're a busy guy.
This is great. It's good to see you always.
Yeah.
And you got good fans. So.
All right, man. See that? Both of you guys. So what's been new? What's new since I talked to you last? So we talked briefly before.
June has been a whirlwind. I speak every year at Trial Lawyers University. That's in California, and I take all my lawyers there. That's always fun because the guy is in charge of it, likes to have a lot of cocktail hours and parties and stuff, but it's amazing. I always learn stuff and I always speak at it. I always teach something motorcycle. Then I went to Dallas for another seminar. It's called the Lanier Trial College. Mark Lanier is the best plaintiff trial attorney in the country, and he puts a seminar on every year, and he teaches, and I've been trying to get there for years, and I finally just did it. And then also in the middle of that, I tried a case in Macomb County with my team here. Shelby is off camera running, Shelby does our social media and much, much more, but she was running our AV stuff because she's becoming the focus group extraordinaire, and She knows what this program is called, Trial Pad. So we load up all our exhibits and someone has to run it. And as things can go wrong, we got to have somebody with a brain there to make sure our AV stuff is working good. So we tried a case in the middle of that, and then, just everything else, life and other cases and like that. But we had I know you were asking earlier, that trial was a real tough case and interesting case to talk about if you want to talk about it.
Absolutely.
And it had to do with a motorcyclist.
Yeah, you said, from what I understand, it was deemed impossible to win, unwinnable.
That's what they said, and I'll tell you why. So, have you ever heard, most people have heard, if you rear end the person in front of you on the roadway, it's automatically your fault.
So, yeah,
have you ever heard the phrase, failed to stop an assured clear distance?
I have actually, yes, but...
A lot of people have heard that. All that means is you hit the guy in front of you, it's your fault. So we started that trial with the presumption. The judge says, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you must presume from the get-go that it's 100% not just the fault of the plaintiff, the motorcyclist, but they were 100% negligent. And our client was a woman on a motorcycle, and what happened is a van in front of her, they're both going like northbound on a green light, and across their path is coming a police car with lights and sirens. So you got to stop for them. Well, the van just slammed on the brakes. Motorcyclists tried to do everything they could, ended up hitting the back of the van, going down. So we focus grouped that case. So on one thing, that's another exciting thing we have going on this year is I started a focus group company, and Shelby's in charge of that. And we brought in 20 people, so 10 people the first time, 10 people the second time. All 20 watched the video because the police officer had dash cam.
Sure.
Capture the videotape and just look at the video. What do you see? Whose fault do you think it is? They all said it was 100% the motorcyclist's fault. So we gotta, each time we'll change some things, work on some things. We did a third time, got a little bit better, and then a fourth time we were at like 50-50 almost. And Michigan has what's called the 50% rule. If the plaintiff is 50% or more than 50% at fault, so if the plaintiff's 51 or more percent at fault, zero money for the plaintiff. You lose.
Okay.
So you have to. So that's the bar. We had 100% saying it's our fault. We had to bring it down to 50-50 to get any money, and we ended up winning on a 60-40. 60% the van's fault, because of the good case that we put in. And this goes to, we practiced and tried different things and reconfigured it and kept changing things 4 different times with focus groups until we tried the case and tried the best case we could, because we practiced it on 4 different panels. So that was a huge win, because the defense attorneys literally just, you can't win this case. 0, we're not offering anything, and we ended up getting into the 6 figures for our client.
Very nice.
Takeaway money, yeah.
So, okay, let me ask this. The judge said initially, so there was no presumption of innocence?
Well, that's a criminal thing. So
Okay.
with a rear ender, there was a presumption that we were 100% negligent.
Okay.
Now let's start the case, and then we start showing evidence, and now we can flip that presumption. We can combat that presumption, and win the case, which is what we did. You're talking about the presumption of innocence in a criminal case, and the defendant, they say, ladies and gentlemen, jury, as we sit here right now, you must presume that defendant is innocent, did not do any of this. The prosecutor has to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's what you're thinking about.
Okay, well, I thought it was across the board presumption of innocence. So search out how much in trouble I've been. So I guess that's good, right? I'm not very biker me to not get arrested a lot, I guess, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. Great, man. So that's a happy client for sure. And I'm sure the van didn't mean any malice. He saw the sirens and locked the brakes up.
They overreacted is all. And I even said, I think this is a nice lady. She obviously didn't mean to do this. Some people get mad and they point at her. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
That makes the jury uncomfortable. I think this is probably a nice lady. She made a mistake. And this is how we call it. Look at the evidence, look at the law, and this is how I think it should go down. And they went with us.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. That's good. And that bodes well with your preparation. I mean, you spend time in focus group. You don't just go in there on the day of and flip through your notes and say, oh, yeah, this is what we're doing today.
I don't know any other law firm in Michigan that is focus group. Usually you do one, if you do one, and it's unusual that firms do them in the first place. And I'll tell you what, years ago, I used to only do them on my biggest cases because they cost a lot of money to focus group until we got our own company. We got Shelby. But and then we did them on the cases that were about to go to trial. So many cases settle. But I don't know I've never heard of any other Michigan law firm focus grouping the same case more than, 4 times like we did.
I never heard of them doing it once, to be honest. But most people, to be fair, most I hear settle.
Yeah, they do.
You're probably the first one that.
And well, to your point, when you try these cases, the next ones settle faster and for more. So it's nice to have a reputation that you can try the case. You do try cases, you get big verdicts, and that's good for the rest of our clients because they settle faster and for more.
Sure. As just to reference the record-breaking claim you had. So.
Oh, stop! Don't talk. So my mother is proud.
Yeah.
But you're referring to. I set a record verdict in Grand Rapids just over a year and a half ago now, $27 million for a Michigan motorcyclist. And they just said, Grand Rapids jury is never going to award, this kind of money or that kind of money. And we actually turned down $5 million. I never thought as a young lawyer, if you said, you think you're able to turn down $5 million, I don't think I would have. But we did something interesting there. We did what's called big data. So it's a focus group on steroids. So instead of 10 people in a room, we did 300 people across the internet in different parts of Michigan, asked them what they thought the value of the case was. And that's how I knew getting that information and having the cross-section or the sample group that big, you get real data, and I felt really strongly that I could turn down $5 million because over 250 people said the case was worth double that, and we got quadruple that.
Yeah, I think even if you came to me and said, we're going to turn down $5 million, I'd be like, wait, what?
Right. And that, to your point, you have to have a client that, like, you say that to a client, and they're like, I want to take the money. Say, I'm going to get you way more. I can't promise you, but I think we can, and this is what we did. And you build a relationship with your client over months, after usually a couple years, if it's going to go to a trial, a big case like that. and it's like what you've done on the case. And he said, Jason, everything on this case, you told me what they were going to do before they did it. Sure enough, they did it. Every single stage, and you've always been right, so I'm just going to go with what you tell me to do. Whatever your advice is, I'm going to follow it and do it. And that's a good client to have.
Yeah, well, it speaks volumes about you being trustworthy, too. You're not just telling them. You could have very easily said, hey, $5 million, we're not going to trial.
I think, a lot of lawyers are lazy, and
they'd rather
just
settle.
like to get that easy money, that for sure money. But yeah, you gotta make them pay. They gotta pay full value.
Yeah, and to your client, I'm sure they would have rather have never been in the accident and be in the position that
1,000%.
They give that money back to get if they lost a limb or something for sure.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely, and you can't lose sight of that. And I even say that my clients would pay this much money for this never to happen to them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of motorcyclists are that way. Riders,
for sure.
You never come out unscathed from going down on the bike. Yeah. So you were recently on. Was it Fox 2?
Channel 4.
WDIV in Detroit. Yeah. So, yeah.
That was always a fun experience being on TV.
Yeah, it's a different world.
Kind of like this.
Well, no, it's like TV. This is, like 6 people watch this. No, it's, but that was for your...
Our 501c3, our charity. So
yes.
It goes back to the big case again. So what happened was 3 things happened in 1 month. I learned that people were staying blind in America. We're not a third world country. They're staying blind because they couldn't afford a pretty simple eye surgery for cataracts. That really doesn't cost that much. Let's say $5,000. And they're staying blind because they can't afford it. They don't have any insurance. They can't afford it. Secondly, I happened to see one of my best friends from grade school, Dr. Wally Sakrowski, who happens to be an eye surgeon. And then third, I hit for that big $27 million record verdict for a Michigan motorcyclist. And I said, wow, it's meant to be. You got to give back.
Yeah.
Do something big, you get a big result like that, you got to give back. So I formed a charity called Vision of Justice. And if you go to visionofjustice.com, there's an application if people can fill out if they are of modest means, are Michigan resident, and they have cataracts, no insurance. They can fill that out, and then the next step would be to get an appointment with Dr. Wally and see if they qualify medically. But the phrase is we're making people see for free.
I like it.
And it's really life-changing because people, they lose their jobs. Often we had a lady that was a truck driver, and she stopped driving a truck, and then they stay home. They're homebound.
Yeah.
They don't go out. They get depressed, and then their health just cycles down. So this lady, she was kind of right in the middle. She didn't qualify for Medicaid, didn't have any insurance, didn't have any savings. So she would have just, had to sell her house or whatever her assets were until she could get Medicaid. And then by that time, maybe she wouldn't be a candidate. So we did her surgery, and she's back driving a truck. I mean, instead of being on the dole, everybody's getting mad at people, living off the government. She wanted to work.
Sure.
And for a $5,000 surgery, we put her back to work.
Gave her life back, basically.
Yeah. And she's, out, and she's so thankful. So that's what it's about. And we've done a lot of procedures. And June was cataract month. What's the cataract month or something?
Was it really?
Yeah, we're this month.
I didn't know that.
So
I guess there's only 12
that's why
months,
they
there's
called.
almost
They found us and they called us, and they had both Dr. Wally and I. And it's a good story because if you go to the website, it's kind of cool because you have a picture of both of us in grade school in the yearbook, and we're right next to each other. And then they have our professional pictures right next to that. So it's like us as kids, us as professionals, almost age 60, and he's an eye surgeon, and I'm a lawyer. Match made in heaven.
There you go. That's awesome that you give back. That means a lot to a lot of people, and I can see that. I can't imagine not seeing that. Can't ride my motorcycle. You're sitting at home depressed. You just spiral and everything. So
Horrible.
yeah, it's good for you guys.
Yeah. And, we're America. For God's sakes, people are staying blind.
Yeah.
Because they can't do that. And the surgery is 20 minutes. That's all it takes.
Anymore.
It's not a crazy 3-hour procedure, and it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and in and out, same day.
Yeah.
Stay in the night. I don't know, do they do both eyes at the time? Same
Well,
day?
I asked about that. They do them at the same. Do they? No, they do them different days in case.
Okay.
I know LASIK was like that because of the machine, the laser was set the wrong way, and they did both eyes. They could blind somebody. So I remember hearing exactly what you're talking about is they would do one eye, make sure it was good, and then they'd come back weeks later and do the second eye. So, yeah, they did. Shelby and I go up in Flint. They do the surgeries in Flint. He has a surgery center in Flint, and he can do them cheaper there than in Metro Detroit, just because the facility, he owns that facility instead of having to do it at a hospital, which costs more.
Okay, yeah, then he has to rent those surgery. The equipment. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So we'll put that up there, but more importantly, we'll say it a few more times before it ends, because if they have cataracts and they're listening.
Visionofjustice.com.
Okay, not org, not net.
.com. Don't confuse them.
Revision adjustment.
Vision of Justice.
Vision of Justice.
I'm the justice part, he's the vision part.
God, I like it. Hey, that makes sense. .com. I'm just going to stop talking because I'm going to ruin it. But
it's all good.
Good. So that's pretty neat.
And actually, here you go.
Oh.
Shelby has it all right there. And there's Dr. Wally.
Okay, nice.
So, visionofjustice.com.
We'll put that QR code up. You guys can scan that.
Yeah.
And find out everything they need to know about it, right? Through the QR code?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So we'll do that. So when we talked last time, we talked about something about the new insurance stuff that...
There was a fix to the horrible law for Michigan motorcyclists that have been plaguing us for over 5 years. So that was, they went to a PIP medical choice situation for no fault. So you and I in our cars, trucks, or vans now choose the amount of PIP medical we're going to have on our cars, trucks, or vans. Well, that's great. If I rear-end you in your pickup truck and I hit you with my SUV, you go to your truck for your benefits, I go to mine for mine, and what you chose for yours is what you're going to get, and that's fair, right? What I chose for me is what I get for the medical amount, and that's fair. But with a motorcycle, the motorcyclist goes to the vehicle involved, car, truck, or van, for their no-fault benefits, for their medical payment. So the motorcyclist was stuck with what the at-fault driver chose for his own car, truck, or van, for his own PIP medical. It could be $50,000. It could be $250,000. Way back when, before 5 years ago, everybody had unlimited.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter which policy you got it from, everybody got unlimited. So when we went to this change, now the motorcyclist a lot of times is getting shafted because they're getting the PIP medical amount that person chose. Now recently, there was a case that came down that changed the law. So I didn't really know this specifically until I went to law school, but you have laws called statutes. The legislature passes the law, and then the governor signs it into law, and that's the law, right? Like do not speed. That's a law, a statute. And then there's also case law, and that's where the Court of Appeals or the Michigan Supreme Court or even the United States Supreme Court hears about a case that went to trial and it was appealed, and there's like this gray area. We don't know what to do with this. So the Court of Appeals decides that they decided this wasn't fair, that a motorcyclist is stuck with what this other guy chose.
And they're right.
And in the case I'm talking about, the motorcyclist had on his own car unlimited. So the guy that hit him had a $250 policy, and he ate it up, and he had more medical bills, and they said, why can't I get it from my car's insurance? I had unlimited. And the Court of Appeals says, yes, that's what should happen. So that was a fix to this. It's a potential fix. So that's why I say, if you ride a motorcycle and you have a car, truck, or van, you should choose unlimited PIP medical on your cars, trucks, or vans because you can end up getting the unlimited from your own. So that's the case. That's a fix right now, and it may be appealed to the Michigan Supreme Court, which could say yes, we agree, or they could turn it upside down. So right now, that's a fix. We love it. Time will tell.
Yeah, and you never know. It's relying on someone else to have their ducks in a row for you. And $250,000, that's what, a night in the hospital for a bike accident
Right.
if you're lucky anymore, right? So
it can be eaten up pretty fast.
yeah, instead of trying to save a dime, spend $1.
And that's what this guy was. He ended up in the hospital for 30 days, and then he went to a step-down facility called Mary Free Bed. Have you ever heard of Mary Free Bed?
I have not.
So this, instead of being at the full hospital, once they get him acclimated and stabilize him, but he doesn't need full nurses around the clock, full doctors around the clock, they'll go to what's called a step-down facility. And there's a great one in the Grand Rapids area called Mary Free Bed. It's kind of a weird name, if you can remember it. And Mary Free Bed actually is the one that filed this lawsuit because they had a bill that was $1 million. They had $1 million bill, to your point, that was like 60 days in the hospital, 60 days in 30 days in the hospital, 30 days in their facility. So that's what they filed the suit, which I think has helped you, like a medical person instead of a biker.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's good. Good for them, and hopefully.
And it helps motorcyclists.
I'm sure the insurance companies will probably try to take that up the ladder to.
We'll see.
But
We'll
hopefully
see.
not. Yeah, it's always good for motorcyclists, and that's what matters. So what are you up to on your free time? I know you own the gym and still training the jiu-jitsu. And
Yes. So what he's talking about is I own an MMA gym, mixed martial arts gym that also our number one thing is jiu-jitsu. So a friend of mine started. He was a professional cage fighter, personal trainer, and his dream was to own a gym like this. And way back when, I had a little extra money around, so I think I bought the equipment and the mats, and I have a lifetime membership. It's the most expensive gym membership I have. I should have stuck with Planet Fitness for even the black card is like $19.95. I would have been ahead of the game, but no, good training, and it helps with. Instead of shrinks and booze and drugs, I go to the gym and get choked out by 25-year-olds. At least for the first 2 years, I can choke them out, but then they learn enough.
They learn quick, right?
Beat up the old man.
Oh man, I know it. I remember getting choked out by girls at the gym. I'm like, how did that just happen?
The technique's legit.
It is, yeah, it really is. But so that's good. What else do you have going on coming up? Anything special coming down the pipe for a little?
We have some trials coming up. We're busy with this focus group company. Shelby's got all kinds of good stuff here.
Yeah.
So this is our focus group company that is called First Trial, and this is a .org. So that's why I got to keep these straight.
I get it.
So if you go to firsttrial.org, you can fill out a questionnaire to be a participant, and you could be one of our focus group participants and listen to one of our cases and give us true, honest feedback that'll help us. But we can't just have all bikers. We need people from all walks of life. We need every person under the sun, because that represents who would really be our real jury pool.
Yep.
So we're looking for people that are against motorcycles. We're looking for people that hate personal injury lawyers. We're looking for everybody. So that's kind of fun, and it makes us perform and get ready and tweak our cases. That's something new.
Okay.
We got a nice table. We can talk about FAFO.
Yeah, let's figure
You want to talk
this
about
out.
FAFO?
Yeah.
It goes back to that same case. So I got a call from a buddy of mine that said, "Hey, I read in the paper you have some big case, set some record verdict or whatever." And I go, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, tell me about it." And it's good to have a friend that's like sincerely interested.
Sure.
About, they actually are excited for something good that happened in your life. Not everybody's like that.
I know that.
So my buddy called me and said, what happened? So I said, well, there's this case, and they wouldn't even offer $1 million, and we went further, and we went to facilitation, and they didn't do this, and they just kept lowballing us and not paying, just treating us horrible. And then facilitated again, and then finally at the courtroom steps, we'll pay you $5 million. I said, it's too late. We want a verdict. And then we tried the case, and we got a verdict, $27 million. And my buddy says, oh man, sounds like they FAFO'd. And I'm like, what's that? What's that? He says, fucked around and found out.
Yeah, they did.
And I said, ooh, I think I should make some T-shirts with that on it. So I have back to the gym, I have two versions of this. I have this on the front, and on the back it says MMA, it says MMA and Jiu-Jitsu Mash Gym. That's the name of the gym. And then I have another one that has our logo in the O, that's our motorcycle lawyer. And that's our new firm shirt. So
I like
my
it.
buddy, I didn't even, I'm like, FAFO, what? And then he told me, I'm like, oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah, oh, man. That's the story of my life right there. Well, that's pretty neat. So a lot of good's coming from that thing, and unfortunately you're busy, but it's good that you're helping.
Trying to help, trying to give back, stay busy. Yeah. We don't want anybody to go down, but I really do believe after 33 years and over 1,000 cases, and I think I've tried more motorcycle cases than any lawyer I know, and any lawyer in Michigan for sure. There's certain kind of cases you're dealing with motorcycle bias, and I just think after 30 years I've figured it out a little bit, and we're doing really, really good things at the highest level. So I'm real proud of that, and it's not just me. I got a whole team doing it, and when we try cases, it's a team approach. I bring at least 2 other lawyers with me to try cases. They get some experience, frees me up. I don't have to do every witness. I don't have to question every witness. We split up the work, and it makes it more fun, easier to do a little bit less stressful, and we do a better job for everybody. So it's kind of a recipe that we have for our cases
Sounds
right
like it's
now.
working right now. So this year, have you noticed any numbers, cases up or down? I mean, I know that this year seems like a lot of people are crashing this year.
Numbers to me can be skewed because a lot of people have been hearing about a lot of the victories and things we're doing. So are they calling because of that? Are there the same number of crashes? I don't know. I always wait for the statistics that the state of Michigan, when they do that UD10 police report, they do that for a number of reasons. That information gets sent to Washington, the Department of Transportation does all these studies, but they usually have to wait for the year to end, and then they have 6 months. So usually 6 months, 8 months later, they give the statistics. And I always look for the motorcycle statistics. They break it down nationally. They break it down per state. And I'm always looking for the motorcycle section, number of fatalities, number of crashes, number of without helmet.
Yeah.
What else do they do? Alcohol involved. And I think even now, because there's on the UD10 police report, that's that big Scantron looking 8x10 piece of paper. They fill out the bubbles. There's a section that's been on there probably 4 or 5 years now for distracted driver. So I like to see all those numbers, and we usually do some social media or write an article about it. So we're getting calls. We're busy. We get calls. We're opening files. Probably similar to what we did last year, but you really don't know how to answer that perfectly. But it does seem like social media, it just seems a lot of people are going down.
Yeah, I don't know.
And bad, serious stuff.
Yeah, it's never good, but it seems
you hear that?
Bad. Yeah. Yeah, what? So, yes, I just wondered, and unfortunately, a lot of alcohol is involved. Seems like a lot of times, but yeah, you never know, right? So, well, what else you got going on? Tell me something new. Tell me something good. You got events coming up, Shelby?
Yeah. Talk about accident scene management classes.
Oh yeah.
So, way back when, did you ever know Debbie Parinello of my office? She was my marketing lady for years and years.
Last time I was here, that's the first time I heard of her.
Yeah, and I met her because she was a racer out in Granton. She was the only female out there racing bikes, and she wanted me to sponsor her. So I did, and we got to be friends. And then she became my marketing lady, and she was good about, we've talked, we want to give back. So she said, I got a great way to give back. There's this thing called an accident scene management class. And it teaches motorcyclists basic first aid, how to manage a scene so another accident doesn't happen, how to remove a helmet. You don't want to remove a helmet, but if you have to do rescue breathing, the proper way to do that. You don't want to move a motorcyclist, but if you have to because of safety, this is the proper way to do it. How to lift a motorcycle off of a motorcyclist the proper way so you don't get hurt, they don't get further hurt, and on and on. And she said, but it has to be taught, this class has to be taught by a EMT or a paramedic. Like, geez, what's the deal with that? Like, well, this sounds expensive. I got to go rent a paramedic for all day. It's an all-day class, 8 hours. And she's like, yeah, I'll tell you what. Send me to paramedic school, EMT school, and I'll become an EMT and I'll teach the class. So that's what we did. And it was no joke. Like, let's say the old thing where you look left and right, they're gone, and so it's a 1/3 attrition rate. When she was done with the class, there was only 1/3 of them left. And she taught the class as an EMT for a number of years. We patched a lot of people through it. And then they also have an advanced class. But the advanced class has to be taught by a paramedic, which is higher than an EMT.
Sure.
So she says, send me back to school, I'll become a paramedic. So we did, and she did. And recently, we patched over 3,000 Michigan motorcyclists through that program. And Debbie retired, and it kind of fizzled out and was dormant for a year, almost 2, and then it got revamped recently. It's out of Vicky Sanfilippo is a nurse that started this, big motorcyclist. She was inducted into the Motorcycle Hall of Fame for this, doing this, and she just revamped it and found a nurse and a couple other people that are credentialed that can teach the course. And we just got connected with them, so we're back in business, so to speak, sponsoring Michigan motorcyclists, again, going through that class. So what we do is we sponsor a certain percentage of the dollar amount for the class for the motorcyclists. Have you ever heard of this thing, like it would be bad for me to sponsor the entire dollar amount because the motorcyclist has no value or has no, they don't perceive it as having value. But when the motorcyclist pays part of it, then there's a perceived value and they're more likely to show up and take it seriously. And I've heard that in a couple different things. So we pay a percentage of it, and they get a starter kit, like a starter first aid kit. Rescue breathing's part of it. It's a great class, and I'm glad we're back doing it again.
Where can people find info on that?
If you go to our website, we have 2 websites. We have a national one, themotorcyclelawyer.com. I usually give that one out because it's just easy, and that's how I'm known, the Motorcycle Lawyer. But we also have a Michigan website because Michigan law and the no-fault law is so specific. I have so much information on that one. MotorcycleLawyerMichigan.com has more information about it. So I would go to that Michigan website, or you can call our office, 877-BIKER-LAW. Ask for Shelby; she'll tell you all about it.
Right on.
But yeah, we usually have a list of classes that are going on. They fill up fast.
I bet.
And a lot of times, clubs will take a whole one. So they'll go, like, let's say the Harley group of Waterford they have a bunch of members, and the classes are like 20. I don't think more than 25. 20 is, I think, the magic number. So that's how it is. So just get a hold of our website or call our office, and we'll give you the 411. Do you remember 411?
Yeah.
We'll give you the 411 on it. Shelby, you know what 411 is?
Shelby's
No, she's 20-something.
Yeah.
So we used to pick up the phone and dial 411. Hello, information.
Yeah.
Can I have the phone number for Little Caesars in Royal Oak on Woodward and 13? Sure. Hold for your number, please.
It's not quite as old.
And then would you press 1 and we'll dial it for you. That costs 25 cents more.
Yeah, I do.
And the joke was, oh my God, you know what? You got to be really lazy. Like, I dial it myself, but I'm exhausted, and I just don't know if I could get all the way up to that 3.
25 cents is a lot.
Yeah?
Well, it was. That's the way it was, yeah.
Or get out the yellow pages. You don't even know what that is.
collect calls. I remember it was that was another thing.
Yeah. The DoorDash of your time.
Of our time.
Something like
Wait,
that.
we're in our prime. What are you talking about? Well, thanks for coming on again. Thanks for having me back out. I know you're busy.
Love it.
I really appreciate it.
You're fun.
Well, looks aren't everything. Funny looking. I do appreciate your time for sure coming back out. I'll be sure to keep this episode this time.
All right.
Total operator malfunction somewhere along the line.
All good, man.
But I hope to see you out at events. I know you're busy. You don't always make it to the events. Shelby's always there. I see her
Shelby's
quite often.
pretty good at twisting my arm, getting me to a few.
Right on. Yeah.
If we got a trial cooking, I'm here.
Well, that's as it should
Sleeping
be.
here
Right?
almost.
Yeah.
All right, give me your big sign out. Let me see the professional sign
Oh,
out.
well, I don't have the professional one, but I know, like, the other creators in Michigan, we had a big joke going for last year for this. They all had their catchphrase and whatever, and I'm not that special. I just go finger guns, catchphrase. That was our thing last year.